So it's not as though I just have the absence of fear. I feel it quite strongly. But there are just times when something is important enough, you believe in it enough, that you do it in spite of the fear.
How to deal with anxiety. Anxiety is a part of our everyday life these days. It is unavoidable. Present day society is layered and complex. Just take a look at the news and you'll see how much drama is all around you. Society appears to be at a cliff edge and we are all heavily stressed out. Life appeared to be simpler in days gone by. And today many of us are struggling with stress and high levels of anxiety. But what to do about it? Is there a way to deal effectively with anxiety? Is it possible to reset ourselves back to an earlier stage in our lives when we had less stress and less anxiety? The answer to these questions is yes, it is possible to reduce stress and anxiety levels, and the two go hand in hand. However, we cannot simply turn back the clock or reset the clock. There are various traps in the psychological life of human beings, and one of them is the desire to return to an earlier and simpler age. You might have noticed how people of the older generation like to talk about the old days and how good they were. But just tune into any history documentary on YouTube and you'll quickly see that the old days were also beset with their own set of troubles, and that the older generation way back then were also comparing their present generation rather badly compared to their youth. Each human generation has its shares of challenges, and then harkening back to an earlier, simpler, happier time is escapism of the human mind, a way of minimizing the stress and anxiety of today with wistful, dreamy ideas of an idyllic past which never really existed in the first place. To deal with anxiety, to overcome anxiety, we have to understand why we have anxiety in the first place. Anxiety can be defined as an emotional uneasiness that does not appear to have an explicit cause. However, if we take a look at the subconscious mind, things begin to become clearer. The subconscious mind contains all of our memories, beliefs, and habits, including habitual thoughts. In our everyday life, we are forced to fit in with others in society, and this results in a repression of our instinctive self. And the result of this repression of our feelings is an emotional undercurrent, which is expressed as anxiety. Human beings have an archaic survival mechanism called a fight or flight response. This response is designed to have us either attack an enemy aggressively or to run away with fear. However, the problem with modern life is that we can neither have an opportunity to hit out at another, nor do we have an opportunity to run away in fear. Think about it. In today's world, can you punch out your boss and get away with it? Or how would people think about you if you ran away from class in school or college? In a social media-driven culture, everyone is on view 24/7, and random acts of either aggressiveness or fear can easily be recorded and shared with others. So not only have we the societal pressure to fit in, but also we have social media pressure on top of it. We now know why we have anxiety, but how can we deal with it? Dealing with it is the operative phrase, because there is no way back to an earlier time of idyllic living, nor can we ever really hope to lead a life that is entirely free of stress and anxiety. How can we then deal with anxiety? Well, here are 3 tactics which will really help you. 1. De-stress. At the heart of anxiety is stress, pure stress. There can be many reasons why we feel stressed, but it's obvious in today's world that we have so many things to be stressed out about, and at the same time we have to fit in and get on with things. As stress levels rise, they push up anxiety levels, so the first step in dealing with anxiety lies in reducing stress. On a superficial level, dealing with stress is very straightforward. Take off some time for yourself and relax, go somewhere new, take a break from work or studies, and soak up a refreshing atmosphere. Certainly these things will help, but we have to go beyond the superficial and make efforts to permanently reduce stress at all times. Taking a nice vacation, for example, might have you feeling de-stressed for a week or two. But will it have you feeling de-stressed all year long? Probably not. So what can we do to permanently de-stress ourselves? To permanently de-stress ourselves, we have to learn how to relax at deep levels. And secondly, we have to learn how to not become all that bothered by things when they're not going our way for whatever reason. So above and beyond giving ourselves breaks, we need to learn how to relax more and become increasingly philosophical about our life problems. There are lots of relaxation training videos on YouTube. Just try some out and apply whichever relaxation techniques work for you. Regarding becoming more philosophical, one great technique that will help is meditation. Once again, there are lots of good meditation training videos on YouTube to look at. Personally, I like heartfulness meditation. It's a very powerful meditation technique and it's free. Check it out at www.heartfulness.org. The reason why meditation helps us de-stress is that it allows us to have an opportunity to reflect and gain new perspectives, which also leads to the second great way to deal with anxiety, which is Stoicism. Stoicism is a philosophical system that originated in ancient Rome. Stoicism is an ethical system of philosophy. Ethics focus upon answering the question, what is the good life? But where the Stoics differ from most philosophers is in their fiercely practical approach. Where most philosophers are looking to find an ultimate answer to their question, which applies universally to all people at all times, the Stoics are far more interested in understanding how they can individually lead a more fulfilling life. So what are the key tenets of Stoicism which will help you deal with anxiety? The key tenets are actually called virtues, the four virtues, and they are wisdom, temperance, justice, and courage. Through wisdom we learn to put things in perspective. Temperance encourages to live within our means and not take anything to excess. The virtue of justice, meanwhile, encourages to lead a honest life free from guilt and complications. Finally, courage makes us willing to make tough decisions and take the bold actions which we need to perform so as to lead a successful life. Think about what these four values entail. What wisdom, temperance, justice, and courage can do for you if you apply them in your life. Anyone who makes a concerted effort to apply these virtues will lead a more simple, less stressful life, and they will lead a life which they're meant to live rather than waste their time trying to be what they're not. Stoicism teaches us to lead a simple life and to reality check our life. When life is relatively simple, we can see the wood for the trees and make better life decisions. How can this help you handle your anxiety? It helps because when your life is too complex, your anxiety levels are high because you're too tight and too stressed out, and the overflow of unresolved emotional energy emerges as anxiety. Simplification and clarification of life help us to build up less internal stress, and a life that is directed in a manner which best suits our inner needs is inherently less stressful and more fulfilling. The biggest issue with anxiety is not the anxiety itself, but rather how we think about the anxiety. In essence, we fear anxiety. We want to feel free and at ease, and we wish that we could be free of this heavy blanket of anxiety that is suffocating us. The biggest obstacle to dealing with anxiety is this fear of anxiety itself. When we face the things in life which we want to be free of, it empowers us and uplifts us. Just take a look at what Elon Musk has to say about embracing fatalism and how it helps him make tough business decisions.
Where does that come from, or how do you think about making a decision when everyone tells you this is a crazy idea? Or where do you get the internal strength to do that?
Well, first of all, I'd say I actually think I feel fear quite strongly. So it's not as though I just have the absence of fear. I feel it quite strongly. But there are just times when something is important enough, you believe in it enough, that you do it in spite of fear.
So speaking of important things,
Like people shouldn't think people shouldn't think, well, I feel fear about this and therefore I shouldn't do it. It's normal to feel fear. Like there'd have to be something mentally wrong if you didn't feel fear.
so you just feel it and let the importance of it drive you to do it anyway.
Yeah, actually, something that can be helpful is fatalism, to some degree. If you just accept the probabilities, then that diminishes fear. So
By embracing fatalism, Elon Musk has been able to overcome the fear which would otherwise have held him back from making the tough decisions and taking the bold actions which he needed to take to be successful in life. This willingness to embrace a tough situation is the same challenge that we have when dealing with anxiety. While there are strategies that you can apply to reduce anxiety, ultimately anxiety is a part of life, and so long as you fear anxiety, you will be a slave to anxiety. If you want to deal effectively with anxiety, try to lower your stress levels. Simplify your life by following the Stoic virtues, and be willing to feel uncomfortable if that's what's required, because the true cause of anxiety is the stressful juxtaposition between your desires and the realities of everyday life. The more capable you are of handling these inner complexities, the less anxious you will be. But also we must all face up to the anxiety which goes along with leading a passionate life, where we pursue our dreams, and so we have to be willing to embrace the uncomfortableness of this inner turmoil to some degree to fulfill our goals. And by fulfilling our goals, our anxiety levels will lessen. And by fulfilling our goals, our anxiety levels will lessen and they'll become easier to withstand, both because they are less intense and also because we start seeing the benefits of being uncomfortable if it means that we are leading the life that is more congruent with the life ideals which we have in mind. So there you have it. Nobody can be completely free of anxiety. But if we try these 3 tactics, learning how to be more relaxed, less stressful, taking more of a stoic approach to life, where we lead a simpler life and a more philosophical life, and being willing to embrace the uncomfortableness of anxious states, will in itself help us deal far more effectively with anxiety, and more importantly move on to leading the life that we want to lead and having the benefits of self-fulfillment which go with that. I hope you liked this video. If you have, please like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you next time.